The Los Angeles Dodgers and the Philadelphia Phillies have always had an intense rivalry, but what happened during their most recent matchup sent shockwaves through the entire baseball world. Shohei Ohtani, the most talked-about superstar in Major League Baseball, was seen in a moment that nobody had ever witnessed before. The calm, composed, and always professional Japanese slugger completely lost his temper on the field, and the reason behind it has left fans, analysts, and players across the league absolutely stunned. What exactly did the Phillies coach and pitcher do to push Ohtani to his absolute limit? Why is Dodgers manager Dave Roberts now demanding a harsh penalty from MLB officials? The answers to these questions are more shocking than anyone could have imagined. When the starting lineups were announced before the game, the atmosphere at the stadium was already electric. Shohei Ohtani's name was at the top of the Dodgers' batting order, and Phillies fans were ready to see how their team's pitching staff would handle the most dangerous hitter in the game today. Everything seemed normal on the surface. But behind the scenes, something very troubling was already brewing. Sources close to the Dodgers organization revealed that unusual activity had been noticed even during the warm-up period. Coaching staff and players had reportedly picked up on certain signals and behaviors from the Phillies side that raised serious concerns. At that point, nobody could have predicted just how dramatically the situation would escalate once the game officially began. From the very first inning, it was clear that the Phillies had a very specific strategy in place when it came to facing Ohtani. The Phillies pitcher was visibly targeting Ohtani in a way that went far beyond normal competitive pitching. Multiple pitches came dangerously close to Ohtani's body, and the pattern was impossible to ignore. What made it even more suspicious was the behavior of the Phillies bench coach, who was observed making very deliberate hand signals and gestures just before each of these pitches was thrown. Dodgers players in the dugout noticed this immediately. Freddie Freeman was reportedly the first to point it out to teammates, alerting them that something was clearly not right about what was happening on the mound. By the second inning, the tension had reached a boiling point. Ohtani stepped into the batter's box with his usual focus and determination, but what followed was something that crossed a line that cannot be ignored in professional baseball. A fastball came screaming in and struck Ohtani directly. The stadium fell completely silent for a split second before erupting into noise. Ohtani stood still for a moment, the kind of stillness that made everyone watching understand that something serious had just happened. He did not immediately react with anger. Instead, he took a slow breath and stared directly at the mound. But what came next from the Phillies' dugout was what truly ignited the firestorm. Reports from multiple sources confirmed that words were exchanged from the Phillies bench that were completely inappropriate and deeply disrespectful not only toward Ohtani as a player but as a person. That was the moment everything changed. Shohei Ohtani, a man known throughout his entire career for his composure, his professionalism, and his quiet leadership, was seen reacting in a way that shocked every single person in that stadium. He turned toward the Phillies dugout, and for the first time in his Major League Baseball career, he made it absolutely clear that he was not going to let this moment pass without response. Teammates rushed toward him. Mookie Betts was seen placing a hand on Ohtani's shoulder, trying to calm the situation before it escalated further. But Ohtani was not done. He pointed directly toward the Phillies bench and made clear that what had just happened was unacceptable. The umpires immediately intervened, and warnings were issued to both benches. But for many people watching, the warnings felt like far too little, far too late. After the game, manager Dave Roberts was visibly furious when he addressed reporters in the press conference. This was not the usual calm and composed Dave Roberts that the media was accustomed to seeing. His voice carried a weight and a seriousness that made it immediately clear this was not something the Dodgers organization planned to simply move past quietly. Roberts stated that what occurred on that field was not competitive baseball. It was deliberate, it was organized, and it was targeted specifically at Shohei Ohtani. He did not mince his words. Roberts told reporters directly that he had already been in contact with Dodgers management and that formal action would be taken. He made it absolutely clear that the Dodgers were going to demand that MLB take this situation seriously and respond with the kind of penalty that sends a message to every team in the league. Roberts went further than many expected when he revealed details about what had actually been observed during the game. He confirmed that the Dodgers coaching staff had reviewed footage from multiple angles and that the coordination between the Phillies bench coach and the pitcher was clearly visible and clearly intentional. He said that in all his years in professional baseball, he had rarely seen something so calculated and so disrespectful directed at any player, let alone at someone of Ohtani's caliber and character. Roberts said the Dodgers would be submitting a formal complaint to MLB with all relevant evidence and that they expected a thorough and serious investigation to follow immediately. Freddie Freeman spoke to reporters after the game and did not hold back either. Freeman said the entire team was deeply upset by what had happened. He described the moment when Ohtani was hit and the words came from the Phillies dugout as one of the most disturbing things he had experienced on a baseball field. Freeman said that Ohtani never looks for trouble, never disrespects opponents, and always conducts himself with the highest level of professionalism. For something like this to happen to someone like Shohei was something the entire team took personally. Freeman added that the Dodgers are completely united behind Ohtani and that every single player in that clubhouse stands with him 100%. Mookie Betts also addressed the media and confirmed the details of what had unfolded. Betts said that when he saw Ohtani's expression after being hit and hearing what came from the opposing bench, he knew immediately that this was serious. He said Ohtani is one of the most mentally strong players he has ever been around, and to see him pushed to that point was genuinely shocking. Betts said the team had rallied around Ohtani after the game and that the mood in the clubhouse, while still tense, was one of complete unity and support for their teammate. He made it clear that the Dodgers expected MLB to act swiftly and decisively in response to what had happened. Sources within MLB circles confirmed late in the evening that the league office had received the Dodgers' formal complaint and that an investigation had been officially opened. Multiple league officials were said to be reviewing game footage and gathering statements from all parties involved. The Phillies organization, for their part, released a brief and carefully worded statement denying any intentional wrongdoing. However, that statement was met with significant skepticism from analysts, former players, and media personalities across the baseball world. Many prominent voices in the sport took to social media and television to express their support for Ohtani and their belief that the evidence clearly pointed to something that deserved serious consequences. Former MLB players who commented on the situation were largely unified in their reaction. Several veterans of the game stated that what was described and what appeared on footage crossed a line that baseball has always taken seriously. They emphasized that deliberately targeting a player, especially in a coordinated fashion involving both a bench coach and a pitcher, represented a fundamental violation of the unwritten and written rules of the sport. Many called for suspensions, fines, and potentially further disciplinary measures against those directly involved. As the night settled and the dust from one of the most dramatic moments of the MLB season began to settle, one thing was absolutely clear. Shohei Ohtani had shown a side of himself that the baseball world had never seen before. Behind the smile, behind the home runs, behind the record-breaking performances, there is a competitor who demands respect and who will not stay silent when a line is crossed. Dave Roberts and the entire Dodgers organization have made it clear that this matter is far from over. MLB now faces a critical moment, one that will define how the league handles situations where its biggest star is targeted in a way that goes beyond the boundaries of fair competition. The baseball world is watching. And they are waiting for justice to be served. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Subscribe to our channel for more interesting and up-to-date information.